Peter, nice to have a chat with you after last night's dinner. You had quite a lot to say last night. What's the camaraderie been like for the last 2 days, in your opinion?
I found that as one of the better parts of things. Getting to know people, see people at different levels as far as trading is concerned, see sort of turns people on about it, hear about what their background is, where they come from. I find that good. Came from Ireland, yeah.
From Ireland?
Yeah.
And you're back there for the weekend?
Go back tonight. Back tonight, yeah.
So, you're quite an opinionated fella. You've been around the block a few times, we can tell. What have you learned that you didn't know, would you say, in essence, from the last couple of days? What do you leave with?
Well, I suppose when I came into this, firstly, I thought to myself, there's really no way of predicting what way markets will go, or no way of predicting what way Forex markets, which is similar, I suppose, to other markets, what way it will go. And a lot of these systems which are out there are at best educated guesses. But the more I looked at this system, the more I saw that it was more than an educated guess, that there was a fair bit of work that gone into it. And in essence, what you'd taken was a very old strategy, which I believe was back to the 14th century.
Yeah, he's an old fella, yeah.
And had adapted it to using the current computer techniques which are out. And that took a lot of the grind out of it, I suppose, as far as people like me are concerned, who simply just would not have the patience to sit down and do it the old way with the ruler and pencil, And for me, that was a big achievement. The other thing then was added into the mix, which I've noticed this last few days, especially in the likes of Kashif and that, is that there are variations on the theme, and and various ways of doing things have evolved from others. Now, I'm still coming to grips with the vanilla and the reverse vanilla and things like that, and even the bounces and stuff like that. But I find that that's an exciting part about it. That there's always a wee bit more to learn, and
I'm the same. I'm learning stuff about the grids that were not there when I came up with the original concept. As you know, people like Cash and Wolverine and all the Armandos of this world, Sams, are almost getting into the product now in such almost inside it, if you can imagine. We laugh with Kashif about Neo from the Matrix, but it's almost like he's in the numbers and he can almost just do it without thinking.
True.
Did you get that impression yesterday?
Oh yes,
watching
it? The amazing thing about all of the guys here are that none of them, quite a lot of them, have not come particularly from financial backgrounds. The guys who have come into the thing, complete amateurs, and have learned and developed their own techniques, and have, as Cash said yesterday, have taken ownership of it, which I think is important, because it's all about confidence, I think, and it's all about, if you're fearful of what you're doing, then you'll never be probably not get there, But if you feel as if you've contributed to this thing yourself, and you feel, even though you haven't maybe devised it, but you're able to use the controls. I suppose it's a bit like a pilot in a supersonic jet. When he sits down first, most of us will be very confused by all these controls, but after a while, when you realise repetition of using this and using that, then you get more confident. So instead of flying in a straight line, you can start doing a few dives and stuff like that, that type of thing,
I've enjoyed talking to you, actually, particularly Peter, the last couple of days, because I know you had a bit of an annoying arrival with travel and what have you, but
we soon get over that.
But I think you've made some observations which are key to what I'm trying to achieve, which is some of the real stars now in this organisation are customers. In fact, everybody who works in this organisation were customers. I don't think that's ever been done before. I think it's unique for this time. Obviously, I have sons coming out of university. You were telling us you have a very big family. Jobs are hard to come by. Would you recommend to your own sons and daughters, if you start doing good at this, that this is a good avenue for them to come in and make some money and perhaps do other business with the company?
Not only my own sons and daughters, although some of them may not have the attraction towards some people are just not good with figures, and this type of thing might scare them off, and some of my kids would be a bit like that, but there are plenty of people out there who would be better at figures actually than I would be, much better. And I can see where this would really fit into their life, and I can see where it would not only give them a very decent income, but it would give them a lot of job satisfaction, because there's a lot of people there at the moment who simply do not have that. And I mean, I can look at my own staff back home and I can see a few there who I know, if this worked for me, would be good at it. And I can see how that could be a very positive, you know.
I think, and hopefully you back me up with this, that when you see, as you've already just alluded to, someone like Cash, who's a doctor,
yes,
learning the business to such an nth degree, that you think, all right, well, he's obviously an intelligent guy because he's a doctor. There's hope for everybody to do this, because they don't start. I mean, I know I started from a professional banking arena, but everyone else really who's working with me now did not start with that. That's encouraging for the future, I think, of the whole organisation.
Yeah, and sometimes people maybe who would look at Cash there and know that he is a doctor, and that might be put off a wee bit, thinking, I just wouldn't have that sort of intelligence about me. But I don't see that as necessary for this to a certain degree. And I can see where if you only stuck with the basics here at the beginning, certainly, you could do very comfortably out of it, providing you follow the rules and discipline yourself to do it and work out your times of day and all the rest. And one of the ways where I have failed in the past when trading, not Forex, but trading the equity market, was simply not having that rigour which was needed to be able to do it. And it doesn't seem to matter here whether you decide to do 3 hours a day or 5 hours a day or 10. I wouldn't recommend doing much more, because I think, despite what people seem to think, it's not that handy, it's not that easy. You know, the concentration, and you need energy levels running at a reasonable rate and all the rest of it, and you need to have the old psychological approach to it in good shape as well. So I think that in that case, there's room for people from practically any walk of life to get involved, providing, of course, that they know how to use a computer in the first place, which is a basic requirement. And they know a bit about graphs going up and graphs going down.
They've got rigor mortis in their mouse finger.
And they can separate their cells from their bodies and things like that, then they're fine. No, but beyond that, yes, I think without getting too technical in it, you could still get a lot of enjoyment and make a few bob out of it.
What's the sort of trade that you can see yourself doing the easiest? I mean, what trades do you tend to do at home the most, and which ones will you do more after being here for 2 days?
Yeah, well, at the moment, to be honest, I would stick with the old vanilla, or the old reverse vanilla, yeah. Wee bit of 60-60 maybe, you know. I was looking at the tripod there a while ago, and stuff like that, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, I'm beginning to, I think you used the term before, the light was coming on sometimes, because I had looked at it before and I wasn't quite certain as to what direction I should be looking in, and it kind of was starting to click.
So sitting with the neo of the reverse vanilla starts to rub off on you.
And again, some people are better. My strength would be in sitting reading the stuff in my own time, looking at it. Sometimes, if a lot's coming at you on a day like this,
right, you can get a bit overloaded.
And maybe that's why maybe at school I didn't prepare up for them as well as I should have done. You know, but if you have more time afterwards to study things, I find that I can see now what they're talking about there. You know.
All right. Well, look. Thanks very much, Peter. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully you'll have an easier journey home than you had coming.
Thanks.
Cheers.